Stephanie of Stephanie Stitches. Welcome to my channel where together we sew. Today we're going to work on the As Luck Would Have It Fort Worth Fabric Studio Mystery Quilt Sew Along. I'm super excited to start sewing this. If you've been to my channel before, you'll know that last week we did all the cutting, and this is week 2 and we're going to start working on the blocks. So this week's blocks are the Lucky Star blocks, and if you go to their website, which I have linked in my description box below, you can get the pattern for this week. So you can see the beautiful stars below that we're going to be working on. Nice colored pattern, and I'm excited to get sewing on this. So if you've been here before and you're returning, thank you so much for coming back. If you're new here, I'd love to have you subscribe and ring that bell. Then you can see when I go live and when I put up new videos. It doesn't cost you anything, but it helps me out quite a bit, and it shows me that you also want me to make more videos. So I'd really appreciate that. If you see the blocks on the wall behind me, that way, those are what we're making today. So we're making 5 of the dark centered blocks and 4 of the lighter colored blocks, and I made just 1 of each for a sample so you can see what we're doing, and now we're going to make the rest. So I'm excited. So gather all your fabrics for week 2 and let's get started. Okay, so to begin this week, you should have a pile of small white background squares, or whatever fabric you're using if you're not using the kit. For background, you should have a pile of background rectangles, and then you should have 2 prints of the same size square as your background, and 2 prints of the larger squares for the center of the star blocks. So I'm going to put some of this aside for now, the small blocks, the small background blocks and the large centers. And we're going to start with the star legs. The star legs we're going to make like flying geese. And so you want to draw a line from corner to corner on the back of all of your squares, and the light is washing that out. But you can see I've already drawn the lines. And we're going to start by putting one on the left, and we're going to sew right on that line and then trim this away before we add the other side. So let's go ahead and do that first. And if you're doing all the blocks at once, which I'm not going to because that would make a really long video, because we're making, like I said, 5 of the dark green center blocks and 4 of the others. So that's 9 blocks. So I'm not going to do them all on camera. But I would, if you're going to make them all at once, which you should at home, I would chain piece all of these. And didn't sew. There we go. I would chain piece all of these and do all of these, all 20. You'll have 20 flying geese all at the same time. But for the purposes of the video, I'm going to do them one at a time. But it'll help you go a little bit faster since there's so many blocks this week. Okay, so after you've sewn this, you want to cut either with scissors or a rotary cutter and a ruler about 1/4 inch away from your sewn line. And you're going to flip this out. I'm going to finger press it. And then I'm going to iron this in place before we put the other side on. And you're going to do the same thing for all 20 of your flying geese. So if I was going to sew all the blocks right here in front of you, which I'm not because there's a lot, I would sew all of the pieces together on the one side, trim them all, iron them all, and then come back and do the other side. So now I'm going to add the other print to the other side of this rectangle, and I'm going to sew from the top corner to the bottom corner, starting, and it should overlap the print that's already on there. Now you might want to pin these. It'll help keep them in place a little bit better. So again, I'm going to trim away about 1/4 inch from the line that I just sewed. And then I'm going to press this out and iron it. Okay, there's one. I'm going to do one of the other color to show you guys. Sewed right on that line again, corner to corner, and then I'm going to trim away towards the outer edge, 1/4 inch away, and then I'm going to finger press this open and iron it down. And then we're going to do this side. This is directional fabric, so I'm just checking to make sure that the two pieces are going in the same direction. I have a little bit of OCD with directional fabric. I like them all to go the same way. Hopefully y'all at home are not this crazy. Okay. Again, I'm going to trim 1/4 inch away from the line that I just sewed. Okay, there's that one. So that's those two. Now I've made some of them ahead of time to save some time. So I've got my flying geese here, and these here. So now on two of these, we're going to want to add some corner squares. So you're going to grab your white background fabrics and you're going to put one square on each side of your flying geese. Just like this. They will come out hopefully looking like this. And that's going to be the top or bottom to your stars. So I'm going to flip the background on top of the shamrock. So 1/4 inch. Open that side up and do the same thing over here. I'm going to flip this on top. And so 1/4 inch down that side. Okay, so I made one of those previously, so we've got our top and our bottom for those blocks. So I'm going to put those together. And then I'm going to do the same thing for this green. I'm going to flip that square over. It helps me to lay out everything like this and to remember what I'm doing so I don't get confused. Flip that out and then put this square right on top. Okay, so that's that one, and I've got the other green done already over here. So now I'm going to put these aside for just a minute, and we're going to build the center of our stars. So the lighter green fabric goes with the white shamrock, and they're going to go together just like this. So our star legs, the printed, is up against the printed fabric. Make sure you don't turn them around like this. Then it'll look like an arrow going away from your center. You want the arrow kind of pointing in towards your center. So I'm going to add that to either side. Now if you are sewing from the Fort Worth Fabric Studio fabric kit, some of these fabrics are directional. So you might want to, if you're OCD like me, you might want to pay attention to which direction you're attaching some of the legs. Okay, that's one center. I'm going to do the other one. This one's a little bit easier to tell that the fabric is correct because it's not white. See, that way would look kind of funny. There we go. And this one's also a directional print, so keep an eye out for that. I love these prints. This quilt's going to look really cute in the end. Okay, so there's the center of that one. Now I'm going to press the star leg pieces out, and I'm going to press the centers in. Mainly because if I press this out here, you're going to have a lot of bulk right here where the flying geese came together, and it's black fabric. So I want to press that in so we don't end up seeing any of the black through the green. So the centers I'm going to press in. Now you can press these however you like. I just make sure they're opposite from the top and bottom row, so that way when we sew those together they nest really nicely. Press this one and do the same thing, press this in. And then I'm gonna press the ones that I already finished. I pressed already. I'm gonna press these ones out, and they kind of seem to want to go out already. So I'm just making them go the direction they're trying to go. Okay, those are all pressed. Now I'm gonna lay these out the way that we're gonna sew them. We're gonna sew the rows together. It's gonna go just like this. And then I'm gonna put and stack this right on top. Now, if I was chain piecing this, like I was saying, if I was sitting down to do all these blocks at once and not sewing them for you guys, I would stack probably all the same 5 blocks of this together and all the same 4 blocks of the other color together, and kind of do them that way. Now we're going to nest those seams right here. Those are the only 2 spots you need to really be worried about matching up. And you can pin or not pin, whatever works for you. And sew a 1/4 inch. Out. Let's see. Yes, I got them in the right spot. Perfect. Now I'm going to put the bottom row, flip it onto the center. We're going to sew that together. And then when I get done sewing these, I'm going to press the bottom and top row up away from the center. That seemed to work pretty well on the 2 blocks that I've already made. Alright, put that aside and we'll iron them both at the same time, just to save a little bit of time. I'm going to try to sew this one without pinning, see if we can nest that up without pinning. Put these pins away before I stab myself. Now, if you sew without pinning, which is fine, you just want to make sure you can feel those seams tight together. Kind of keep your finger on them as long as you can, and then stop after you've sewn over them and kind of readjust the rest. Take a peek, and those seams matched up just as well as they did with when I pinned, so either way works. Just feeling to make sure that my seams are nested. I'm going to stop after I sew over that intersection and line up everything else. Okay. All right, let's take a peek. Yep, those hit too. So that was with pinning, this was without, so you can see it'll work either way. And now I'm just going to press these out away from the center. If you want to press them in or you want to press them open, that's up to you. There's no pressing instructions on here, so it's kind of your decision to make, whichever way you like best. All right, there they are. Two different versions of the same block, and don't forget you're going to make 5 of the darker ones and 4 of the lighter ones. Okay, thank you guys so much for sewing that along with me. These blocks are so cute. Of course, I love star blocks, and if you've been around my channel a little bit, you know that. So don't forget to make 5 of the dark centered blocks and 4 of the lighter center blocks. So yeah, it's a lot of blocks, but you can do it. You can get it done. I know you can. I think if you chain piece these, if you do all your flying geese first, because that's the most tedious part, because you have to attach the one side, trim, press, and attach the other side, trim, press. That takes a little bit of time. That's probably the longest part of this block. If you do all those first, I think your blocks are going to go together really fast. I think the whole thing will probably take 1.5 to 2 hours. and then you'll be done and ready for next week. So I can't wait to see what the block is for next week and how this is all going to fit together. We have blocks next week, and then the following week, I believe, is the put together week already. So it'll be interesting to see this, and I can't wait to finish this because I said this in my last video, I believe, but this quilt is going to be for my youngest little boy. His birthday is the day after St. Patrick's Day, and he's a blanky kid, so I can't wait to get this done and see what it's going to look like and have it ready for him for his birthday. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you have a wonderful Monday and a great rest of your week, and I'll see you next Monday right here on my channel for week number 3 and the next block. Take care and have a great week. Bye-bye.